Hello, true believers. It's Corey dropping a new podcast. I know it's been a while. And actually, this is my third attempt at this podcast episode. It's been sort of a comedy of errors, so I scrapped the other two attempts. And I apologize for the background noise. I'm wearing a mic, but you're hearing my concentrator, my home oxygen unit, still at 4 liters. Today is our youngest child, our only son's 7th birthday. It's April 15th. I'm going to drop this tomorrow, Friday, April 16th, which also marks 80 days at my active COVID symptoms. I'm still a COVID. Excuse me. Still an active COVID long hauler. As you see, I'm struggling to catch my breath. Still needing 4 liters of oxygen. Still have my COVID pneumonia, COVID insomnia, COVID brain fog, which is a bitch, to be very honest. I'm a detail-oriented person. You see the tail end of my awards in the background for the 2 movies I've done, and photo I took for Black Lives Still Matters, won awards, and so that's really debilitating as the COVID brain fog. And to explain COVID brain fog, I was trying to tell someone, when you forget something or you don't know something, that's one thing, because you didn't possess the knowledge in the grasp of your brain. And I'm looking at my wife's Funko Pop I got her, and it says Wonder Woman Golden Armor. And I said, the best way to describe COVID brain fog, the way I speak is I see the symptoms in my head and go one word at a time. So I'll see the sentence Wonder Woman Golden Armor. So I'll see the sentences, I'm saying the words out loud. I'll go Wonder Woman Golden. And as I get to armor, the word armor fades away. It just fades, like think OG Star Trek transport, fades away. So I had the word and it's now gone. And I can't grasp it. And it's gone completely. And it's so frustrating and it's so defeating. I also go to COVID physical therapy twice a week, and I absolutely hate it. The people there are absolutely wonderful, super nice. It's just a stark reminder of how much I've lost. I'm at the very beginning of this. They break this up in increments of like 6 months. At best, this is all still unknown. In the very beginning, I had these delusional fantasies. There's a half marathon the day before my birthday in October. And I was like, oh, that'll be a great comeback race. And then I thought, okay, that's not going to happen. Maybe a good comeback will be I'll be able to start running again in October. And the doctors have all helped me understand a more realistic goal is that I may be down from 4 liters of oxygen to hopefully 2 liters or less of oxygen. That's a more realistic goal. As far as running and working out, that's probably a 2022 thing. As far as running and working out at the level I'm used to, that's like a 2023 maybe never again thing, because we have no idea the permanent damage COVID will have done to me. It's rewriting my system on a cellular level. I posted pics a few weeks ago of my beard degrowth, for lack of a better term, of showing this. I used to shave my head every 2 days. Now it's like once a week. To help try to center my mind, I started keeping like 1 to 2 minute diaries when every couple of days when I got COVID, thinking, oh, this will be my next documentary project of my experience with COVID, thinking I would have it like the normal 2 weeks, like my daughter who got it at the same time, or my wife who got it and taking care of me and having mild symptoms. And here I am, day 80. So this is now, I'm going to start editing this next week. COVID brain fog, I can't come up with a title that I want. So my creative process is being stepped on at the jugular, and I'm trying to figure that out. But I'm going to, now this is going to be my next documentary and going over all of my journey thus far at the time. I mean, this will end with me talking about that I still have COVID. I still have active COVID. I'm not contagious. but I still have active COVID. And, it's amazing the ignorance of this, because I've said this 100 times on social media. I've said this to my friends. And yet in all this time that I've been out, because life still goes on, I still have to get my kids to school. I still have to get my daughter to volleyball practice and tournaments, and I've still seen people. I've had one friend who hasn't flinched when they've seen me. And they've given me a hug, and I thanked her for that, because all the other people used to give me like fist bump, dap, handshake, high five, bro hug, whatever, have seen me since contracting COVID, since going through this, and they flinch or they don't make a move with me at all, because now I'm treated like a leper, and that hurts, and I see it, and I notice it, and it hurts, because I already feel isolated. This all started with a 20-day isolation in this room. So, for a lot of people who haven't had COVID or had a mild case, COVID is numbers. It's what you hear in the news. It's the number of people who have it in your county or your city or your state. It's the number of people who died. It's the positive rate percentage. And what no one talks about is the mental aspect and the mental toll it takes on the people that have it. And I get that I'm an anomaly, and I hear this from all of the doctors. And by the way, my medical team, wonderful. They've been very helpful, and they've been forthcoming and honest, and I love that, and it's helpful to me. But no one talks about the mental aspect, the mental toll on this. I went from getting up at 4:30 a.m. every single day. By the way, I cannot turn my I haven't been able to bring myself to turn off my 4:30 a.m. alarm, because it breaks my heart. I dust off my weights, and I just look at them. I actually moved my running shoes to the closet because I couldn't stand looking at them. But I know people who had COVID and had their symptoms for 10 or 14 days. And they may have had a fever 1 or 2 days, and they were runny nose, and they were, for the most part, they were fine. And then I know people on the other side of the spectrum who unfortunately passed away, and that breaks my heart. And so I get stuck somewhere. I'm personally stuck in the middle of, I can't carry on a conversation with people who've had COVID, who've had mild symptoms, because we're in two different highways, so to speak. And then I have survivor's guilt of the people who've passed away, and talking to the survivors of those people, because it's a completely different, because then I feel bad and bitching and complaining about being on 4 liters of oxygen because I'm still breathing. But I can't have a conversation to someone who's complaining about having to blow their nose a couple of times a day when I'm talking about a deflated lung. This is all just, it's defeating. It has stopped so much dead in my tracks. But at the same time, life still goes on. I still have things to do. But everything is so hard. And everyone's like, oh, you must, I know you have, some days are hard or some days are difficult. And I'm like, you don't understand. It doesn't go by hard days or good days. It's like hard hours or good hours. And it changes like that. And my body is fighting this infection every single second of every single minute of every single hour of every single day. Do you understand how exhausted my body is just to try to stay at homeostasis? That's before all of the active things that I'm accustomed that I need to do every day. And that's before even the above average active stuff that I'm just used to doing, that I can't do. And so it gets hard when people are just like, oh, with their hallmark advice of just think positive thoughts and just pray on this. And I'm like, first thing, I never said I stopped believing in God. I never said I lost faith. I've walked through so many fires in my life. I've survived child abuse. I've survived childhood sexual abuse. I've survived a stress-induced heart attack. I've survived a staph infection that almost cost me my leg. I've survived so many more things that no one ever knows about. I've survived a suicide attempt. I've never lost faith. I'm just losing hope. And there's a difference. And this is hard. And this is hard on a cellular level, on an hour-to-hour basis. I'm exhausted, and I just talked for like 10 minutes. I don't even think it's been 10 minutes, to be very honest with you, if you are looking at my counter. this being my podcast, whether you're watching this on my YouTube channel or listening to it on whatever podcast engine you're on, if you're including the intro, I don't think this has been 10 minutes. I'm exhausted. And I run marathons. And I have a trophy over here for winning a weightlifting competition in my age division. I'm tired from talking. And I'm sitting down. So I've always prided myself in being transparent. And I'm telling you right now, if in the past 80 days you've asked me how I'm doing, I lied to you. Because I told you I was fine. Or I told you I'm doing the best I can. I lied to you. Because I realized most of the time when you asked me how I was doing, you weren't asking me how I was doing to hear an honest answer. You're asking me how I was doing because you wanted to hear I was doing better. And it's not the case, because I'm not. And most of the time when you asked me how I was doing, you didn't really have the time or the fortitude or the patience to really hear the truth. So I gave you the answer you wanted to hear. And I'm not, this isn't angry, this is just fact. But the truth is, you don't want to hear the truth. The only person I talk to the truth about is my therapist. This is all horrible. And with the exception of the fever, let me be crystal clear. I don't feel better from day one. Oh, and I've developed a couple of new things. One, if I grip something for more than 5 minutes, my hands flare up in pain. That started a couple weeks ago. And two, I'm having problems with increased diastolic number. You have systolic and diastolic, top number, bottom number of your blood pressure. The bottom number is like stress. And most of that is usually controlled with exercise. Guess what? I cannot exercise when I'm allowed to. Obviously, I'm not, and I understand that. But mine has, a good numbers like 60, 70 is the range where most people stay. And for the past 2 to 3 weeks, mine's been 110 to 115. And I know I haven't talked about it with anyone because I don't want anybody's fucking pity. And I don't want anybody's unsolicited, stupid-ass advice. And I don't want anybody's MLM Ponzi schemes to sell me beet juice or what the fuck ever. And my medical team, and we talked about it with them. And my cardiologist, we're working on the medical aspect side of it, medication side of it. But he told me flat out in my face, he's like, we got to get on this because, and he goes, I'm just telling you to be honest. He goes, if not, you will have another stress-induced heart attack before the end of the year. And if that happens, if that happens with my body under the condition it is now with COVID, I understand I won't survive. But y'all want me to think positive fucking thoughts and rainbows and kittens hanging from tree limbs saying hang in there and to tie a knot at the end of the rope and hang the fuck on. It's not going to work. It doesn't work that way all the time. But again, you'll ask me how I'm doing and I'll tell you fine. So, 80 days, people. January 26th was when I felt something was wrong. Technically, I got it January 23rd, because I know where it was, the volleyball tournament. January 28th was when I tested positive. Today's April 15th. Work that out. Pretty sure I will still be on oxygen for my birthday, October 17th. Y'all was sitting on bitching about how crazy 2020 was. And I will spend most, if not all, and that's not speaking in absolutes, that's speaking in fact, of 2021 tethered, literally, metaphorically, to COVID. Actively, not in recovery mode, actively tethered to COVID. But when you ask me how I'm doing, I'll tell you fine. You'll feel better about the answer. You'll give me some, you'll text me some picture of rainbows. And you'll feel better that you reached out. And I will go back to crying in the shower and feeling like shit and wondering how I'm going to make it in through the next 15 minutes because I don't remember what I was doing or how I got there, or if my hands will completely lock up on me, or if when I drop something down, or if it's too low in the refrigerator, how I'm going to get to it, because if I've been in certain positions, it feels like someone is legitimately taking a dull lead pipe and jammed it straight through here all the way through my back. But when you ask me how I'm doing, I'll tell you fine. And I'll smile when you tell me, but you don't look like you have COVID. Do better, be better. One love.